everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. It's Chevy over at Justice for Chevy, and today I had the honor of finally connecting with the two amazing people that I needed to make this story happen. Today, you will witness the interview from Jan, who relinquished 7 mini horses over to Lee Asher at the Asher House. She's finally able to share her voice and speak her truth. I'm, again, so honored to have such a brave person come forward after being bashed online to millions and millions of followers worldwide, not just here locally in the United States. And this is going to be the evolution of how we share and move forward in 2026, the stories and the experiences and the truth about this rescue / sanctuary. And that's simply just it. It's a collection of thoughts. It's the experience. It's beautifully told, and it's heartbreaking. And my ask is that you just listen with pure intention, no matter if you are for or against Justice for Chevy. What we are trying to do here really, truly is to break barriers in the rescue world and really to create a safe place for animals where people cannot take advantage of them. So thank you for being here. Thank you for following. Thank you for your open-mindedness. And I hope that this brings some clarity as to what happened, the true story of what happened that day.
She's up with the whistle, boots hit the ground, flannel shirt and a hard hat.
Let's start with, can you tell us your name and how old you are?
Janice Bauman, 83, almost 84.
How long have the animals been a part of your life?
Since I was 5 years old, when I got my first horse.
What has caring for animals meant to you over the years?
It's just made living life a lot easier and happier. I love them.
Okay, Jan?
I'm fine. Do you have another question for me, or do you want me to say something?
No. Yeah, we have a whole lot. I have a lot of questions. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
How did the mini horses come into your life?
They came, we got our first one in the 1980s, and it just went from there because they're so sweet and loving, and we've just had them. I've always had big horses before, and I had big horses when we got the smaller ones, and they're so easy to care for and everything, sweet. And that's how it started in the 80s.
Can you tell us about your horses? What were their personalities like, or which one followed you around? Which one made you laugh the most?
Oh, where we would live in, we had a lot of snow, and we went up to the barn one morning, and 3 of the babies were on top of the snow, which was about 4 feet deep, and they had traveled through. We had like runouts from the stalls. And 3 of them got together, and they were on top of the snow, walking over the fences, just having the best time, just exploring where they hadn't been before. We thought that was pretty neat. Molly's stall, and I guess she's the one that I really honestly miss the most, because she had a hard time when she was born, and she had to go to Oregon State for care for like a month. And I just regret so much the fact that she's up there and not here. And she just had her own unique personality and everything. And it's just not a good thing. Just very sad. She's just out the door here a ways. This is Heidi. This is Heidi's stall. She's blind. And
You want to record this one? I don't know if you were answering.
when he came to get the horses, he wanted her, and we said no. And he got a little upset about it, and he I said, well, she's blind and she's old and she can't go to a new place because she would be so scared and upset. She's not ever leaving this property. And he says, well, I always get what I want. So remember that. I don't know what he meant by that because he, who knows. But she's still here, yeah. And the other one that we have here too is blind. And they would not tell me what happened to her. The only
You
way,
want to talk about that?
the only way we went up to visit, and the girl said that, I said, where's Chrissy? And she says, Chrissy's gone. And I said, what happened? And she says, well, I don't really know because it was my day off. And I couldn't get anything out of, we didn't usually see hardly one or two people when we were up there. So I never found out. And then a month later when we went back, this gal was there and she had made me this neat thing out of Chrissy's tail. Isn't that neat? It's got Chrissy's name on it, and she
was an employee there.
Yeah, and she'd taken the time to do that for me, and I thought that was so nice. She was the nicest person that I'd ever spoke to there. I mean, and I never found out what happened to Chrissy. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Normal day look like with your horses, I guess? Maybe you can tell us about the care or how your day started and what it looked like.
Well, at the most, at one time we had 30, but we took in a lot of rescues, and some of them were miniature donkeys and some were the mini horses. So we were at the barn by 7 to feed everybody and turn them out, and they had the run of the place. And all I had to do at night was go out there and look at them, and if they were way at the other end of the field, I just said babies, and they'd come to the barn as fast as they could, and that was such a neat thing to see. They'd run into the barn, and they'd all come, and they all knew their stalls. And so that's how my days went, pretty much 7 days a week.
At the time you began looking maybe for help, like thinking, maybe you're getting a little bit older and maybe they should find a home where they'll be okay in case something happened to you. What was going on in your life?
Well,
did you have any health issue, or maybe what made you think you should maybe, start thinking about this?
I guess I had a stroke, and it affected my walking ability, and it left me blind in my right eye. And it took a lot of the stamina away from me. I just didn't have it. And Rick and his sister, who lives here too, helped. I mean, she really has done so much to help us. And then we decided, well, we should, if we could cut down a little, find a good home for them, that would be the best thing. And then when Rick had a heart attack, that kind of, well, that was later, but I think it was from the stress of everything. And he has COPD, which he's had problems with his lungs ever since Vietnam, so he's got that problem. And it was hard. It was getting hard for us because, we're getting old now.
So what were your biggest concerns for the horses then? Obviously, you mentioned, not being able to care for them, but you just wanted to ensure that they were going to be okay.
Right. To think that they could maybe go together to a sanctuary, which is supposed to be a place where they could live the rest of their lives and not have any worries, and we could visit them all the time. We heard about that, and we thought, wow, that would be perfect. It was not too far from us, and it would just be wonderful if they could go and be together and be taken care of and not be separated. And so that's why we went that route.
And what kind of future did you want for them?
I just want them to be together there until they passed and be taken care of, and that's what I thought we were getting, but it was all a lie.
So, how did you first hear about the Asher House?
Oh, I think I saw him on Facebook, I guess, and he was very convincing and sounded, he showed the different animals. He had everything: pigs, goats, llamas, horses. And I thought, wow, this would be a perfect place if he would, be interested. And then the chance of running into him, which is, I never called or anything, I just happened to run into him in a store, and we talked about it, and he was just all gung-ho to take him. And he says, you can visit whenever you want, and there's not going to be a problem. And I just fell for that whole speech that he gave me, and for 3 or 4 months it was okay. We could come up once a month. Once a month we could go visit him with an appointment, and somebody was always there with us, which I thought was a little weird, but it was okay. It worked out okay. And then I got the call from him.
So, what did you believe the Asher House stood
Well, I heard the word sanctuary, and from what he was saying, it sounded like a wonderful place, because I know of other places that are sanctuaries and they do good work and they're great. But there was none around me close where I could consider letting the horses go to. So,
So how did this, like, running into this person at the store? Can you tell us a little bit more about, how you met?
well, I gone into the feed store to order some hay for the horses, and he happened to come in, and he was asking about a miniature that was out in their pasture. And so I just got to talking to him and said that we had minis, and we might be interested in him taking them if he could take just a certain amount and give him a good home, which he promised to do. And I said, okay.
Reassured, when you met him at the store, like, with whatever conversation you had, was he reassuring to you?
Well, he was to me. I fell for it all. My husband had a few words to say about him, but he didn't like him. So
He didn't like him when you met him?
no, I won't tell you what he said. But
That's okay.
he was. I can say it.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Yeah.
He said he was. He said
he felt.
he felt he was an arrogant bastard, and maybe didn't know if we should do this. And we talked about it for a long, long time before we made up our mind. And it was just because of what we were going through health-wise and everything that we had to do something. And he seemed like the perfect answer, and we just didn't know. Rick knew, but
What was promised to you when you agreed to give Lee your horses?
that we could come and visit them anytime we wanted to. And Alicia even told me that because I don't drive because of my eye problem, and she told me that she would come down and get me and take me up there. And I thought, wow, that's really neat. Well, that never happened, but anyway, we were supposed to be able to go see him whenever we wanted to, and that was good, But then he wanted these papers signed, and he wanted them signed right then. And he had Alicia go to the house with me, and she pulled out these papers, and I couldn't read them because I have macular in both eyes, and I'm blind in the one anyway. But anyway, I did that, and they promised to have in the mail the next day copies for me, which I never received. I have never received them. And
Perfect.
I have registration papers for some of the horses that he has of mine. So legally, I don't know. I don't even know what I signed, and that's how stupid I was.
Was it important to you that you could still see your horses if Lee was to take them?
Well, that was the only stipulation that we had, was that we could see them when we wanted to. Otherwise, he would never have gotten them. Because I couldn't not go without seeing them and making sure they were okay. I couldn't do that.
So if you hadn't been promised that, would you have agreed?
No, never.
So was there any time for you to sit down and review any paperwork he gave you?
No.
Did they rush you to sign things?
Mm-hmm.
Did they give you any copies?
No, they didn't give me any copies. I was told they would be mailed to me, and we never received any. And I couldn't read them, what I was signing anyway. I just trusted them like a fool.
Walk us through the day that you handed them over, maybe like who arrived and how that process went.
Well, it was Lee and his lady, and Alicia and her husband. It was 4 of them, I think. And they just came in and had a nice big trailer. The horses were waiting. I mean, I had them up here at the barn. And he had a couple loaded, and then he told Alicia to go to the house and get me to sign papers. And I hadn't even thought about signing papers. You know, for some reason it didn't cross my mind. But I did it. My fault.
Did you think they were just going to meet the horses that day, or did you feel they
Yeah,
were?
no, I didn't know. We didn't know for sure because he never really made. When he showed up with the trailer, I figured he'd be taking some of them. So,
But there was no talk about it, like that they were just going. You just kind of were surprised, maybe.
yeah, in a way, I was. But I trusted him, so I thought they were going to a good home.
So almost done, maybe like 10 questions. So when did you first realize that something wasn't right? Was the property like warm and inviting when you first had your visit? Like when the very first time you got to go to the Asher house?
Oh my gosh. It was kind of a shock, everything that we saw, the house and the barns and the fancy equipment and everything he had. And when we got out, where the horses were in a corral, and when I talked to them, and they just like turned their butts to me, and I told Rick, I said, they're mad at us because we did this to them. And I just felt it in my heart that time, the first time there, that they were mad at me for what I'd done, and that was really hard. And he kept them in this run where they had shelter, but they were like on sand, they had no grass. I don't think in the length of time he's had them that they have ever been able to go out on grass and have a normal meal like a horse should have.
So does the Asher House Sanctuary have like a welcome sign or anything when you first drive up? What does it look like?
You drive up and there's a humongous fancy gate that is always locked and fences all around it and a big stop sign and directions on how to use the apparatus to get into it. You have to speak to someone and they open the gate for you. Otherwise, it's not good. I mean, you know, it's just...
Is it warm and inviting? Is there a sign? Are there cameras?
No, there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras up there by the road. He's like maybe a quarter mile from the road, his house. And the horses and cattle and stuff are down the other way, down the hill. to the east of where he lives. So he isn't close to them. Now they're up by the road, and there's cameras everywhere, and there's signs up by them that says, beware large dogs running at large.
So was it easy to communicate and coordinate visits to see your horses?
No.
Can you explain the process?
I had to send Alicia a text and ask her for an appointment, which really wasn't the way it was supposed to be. And she would set up the time when we could come, and we were just allowed to be there maybe a half hour or whatever, and they were around us all, you know, somebody was with us all the time. Like, I don't know what they thought, we were going to take one home in the car or what, but and then after his refusal, I have no contact at all with him.
What were your visits like?
Oh, we took like bags of carrots, and we'd visit, we'd take pictures, we'd, you know, love on him and mess with him for a while, as long as we felt that we could stay. And then I'd bawl, and then he'd take me home. That's how it went.
So what happened the day that Lee called you?
Well, the phone rang, his name was on the caller ID, and I picked it up, and I thought, oh, I hope one of the horses isn't sick. And he started yelling at me about never coming back up there again because we had been rude to one of his employees. And we'd been up there maybe a week or so before that, and all we had seen, the only person we had seen was Alicia's husband, and all we did was have a visit with him and talk about hay and stuff. We never had a bad word with anybody that was around us whenever we visited. So, and I tried to talk to him, and he just threatened me and screamed at me and scared, you know, it was horrible. I just was dumbfounded and didn't know what to do. And I tried, and then he hung up on me, and I tried to call him back. And of course they wouldn't answer the phone. And I sent texts and I sent emails.
Okay. So did you have any altercations with Lee's employees like he claimed you did?
No, we didn't have any. They were, you know, they were pleasant to us. We were pleasant to them. We never really had much of a conversation. We were just more interested in being with the horses with the time we had to be there. So that was our main goal, just to be with the horses. And usually there was somebody cleaning the area out where they were kept, and we would, you know, talk to them, but that's all it was.
So did you make any attempts to reach back out to the Asher house afterward? How many times? Or how many times do you think?
Oh,
and did they ever reply to you?
No, I sent Alicia all kinds of texts asking her what was going on. She would not reply to me. Nobody would answer the phone when I called. I don't know how many times I called. I sent emails. I got no reply. In fact, last week I sent her a message and asked her how they were, or if she was still even working there, because I don't know who's taking care of them now. But she didn't answer, so I assume she's still there.
So how did you learn about the videos and like the statements that Lee Asher and the Asher House made about you? Where did you first see that, and how did that affect you?
My sister saw it on Facebook, and she immediately called me. And it broke my heart that he would do something so awful and lie about so many things that he did lie about. Everything almost that he said on there about us was a lie. And he just had so much satisfaction in doing it and telling that story. And I have no idea why he did it, there was no reason for him to do it. I don't see how it made any points for him, but it sure was an awful for us.
So, how did that affect you?
It was horrible. It made me sick to my stomach, and I guess I probably cried for a week, and I just literally, it was the most horrible thing that anybody had ever done to us, and I didn't know why, and it did. It made me sick, and it still makes me sick, and I still pray about it and wonder why that happened and why. And I felt so much guilt. I still feel so much guilt for letting him go, and that's the really hard part. That I was so stupid to let him go.
So, I mean, that was all really very difficult for you to go through, and I can't even imagine. Do you still think about this today, and is it something that you think about daily?
I think about it every day. I think about it when I get up in the morning, and I think about it when I go to sleep at night, and I wonder how they are, and I think it has really affected it's affected my health, my husband's health, and it's just such a sad situation that all of this happened, and I don't know. I guess I would think that it's kind of like he's doing elder abuse is what I think sometimes. He's crossed the line so much, and we didn't deserve it because our intentions were good, and we were only thinking of the horses.
If you had. So your intentions were only pure, and you were only thinking about the horses, it seems. And is there anything you feel, about this whole situation, like regret, remorse?
Well,
You said guilt.
I do feel guilt every day, and I would do anything to get her back. And I don't know. It's just hard to explain the feeling that it's just a horrible feeling to think that I did something like that, and it was just totally not what I wanted. What I wanted them to have, and they're.
It's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, they're suffering. They're suffering too. I don't think they're happy. We aren't happy at all, and I just wish sometimes that I could live those days over, but it won't happen. But you make mistakes and you feel really bad about it, and there's just nothing I can do. I don't know what to do.
So how did you find out about Justice for Chevy?
I was watching Weird Portland one day, which I didn't even know was on there, and I saw you. And I heard what you had to say, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's the most horrible thing I've heard. And you just got my curiosity going, and I researched to try to find you on other things, and you just got me going. And I thought, I've got to get a hold of that lady and see if I can do something to help her or find out more about what's going on. And that's how it happened. It was really weird, really.
Keeping Portland weird.
Mm-hmm.
And weird happenings.
Yes,
happening there.
yeah, I've never seen that before.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, did you think that what Lee did when he put that video of you in kind of a almost retaliation, do you think it was bullying, abusive, stressful, and damaging to you?
I think all of those things. I think it was it wasn't necessary. It was out of meanness. I don't know what his reason was behind it. I mean, I have no idea.
So, how has this whole experience impacted, like, your daily life, your health, just overall, this whole exchange from A to Z?
Well, it's affected every day since it happened. Has affected us, and I can't get over it. I don't. All I do is think about them and what happened and why I did it and why I shouldn't have, and it's hard to live with. It really is.
Okay. So, I know you mentioned you think about your horses often. What kinds of things do you think about?
Why they aren't out in the pasture where I can see them, and if they're why just why can't I go down to the barn and give them an apple or do something like I normally would do, and why are they up there with that person and they should be home?
So, Jan, what's been the hardest part about all this?
The hardest part was when I got the phone call from him when he told me I couldn't see him again. And we go up there sometimes and just drive on the road by his place when we can't, just to see, because he kind of moved them. And sometimes we can see them and sometimes we can't. I can't see all of them. I've only seen 3. And some of them had issues that I told him about that I wanted him to keep up on, and I don't know if he has. And I guess it's just driving me crazy, and I don't have dementia or anything like that. I mean, my mind is working. I just get upset about it and I dwell on it every day, and it's not a good thing.
Okay. So, Jan, if there's people out there that ever get to watch this one day, what would you want them to know about you, about this experience, about what your wishes are for the future of your horses?
I would think that you should check things out as thoroughly as you can before you go ahead with something. And I'd love to have the horses back. And I just,
For watching this, maybe hopefully one day, what would you want them to know about you? All the things that Lee said about you, what would you really want them to know?
that I'm just a horse person, and I just feel so bad that I did what I did and that they're in the situation they're in, and I would do anything to get them back home. And I just can't say anymore. I just don't know what to say.
So are you that person that he painted? Are you the person that never cared for the horses? It doesn't seem like it.
No, we had a wonderful lady that took care of their feet. We had several different vets that took care of them, and that's what we did. We just loved them and took care of them and fed them, and they were our babies.
They were your family, right?
Right, they were our family.
So all the things that Lee said about you and this whole experience, if there's people out there watching this, what would you want them to know about the Asher house, your experience, what he said about you, this whole thing?
I think that he is a very evil person, and he took advantage of us, and he just enjoys being in control.
So what are you hoping for now, Jan?
I'm hoping that his game is over soon, that he has to pay for what he's done to all these poor animals, and that nobody else gets taken the way we were. And he just deserves to have to pay for what he's done to all these poor animals.
Jan, if you could ask anybody out there, to help you in any kind of way, what would you say? What would you ask?
Well, I have called all the departments, Humane Society, Department of Justice, Animal Control in Marion County. I've called them all. None of them have any words of courage or any encouragement to give me. If somebody has some advice or knows somebody that has a good idea about what to do to get them back, I would be very grateful, because just now it's like I'm making no progress at all, and it's getting very frustrating and hard.
It's okay. Take your time. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good to let this out. It's healing. I know it's so hard, but it's probably gonna feel better, honestly. I know it hurts, but you don't know that this message could be, honestly, the thing that helps you do exactly what you've been dreaming of,
Mm-hmm.
How is there somebody out there that couldn't watch this, that can't help? Seriously, like, there's so many people out there that will feel, maybe they've had something like this happen, or maybe they just see this and they want to do something, and it makes somebody else big do something about it. Or maybe the Department of Justice is like, hey, like, elder, all this stuff going on. I don't know if you're recording or not. This is me just talking, but I mean, you never know, Jan. Like, this really could be something that moves the needle. Like, it could be truly monumental in this whole thing. And this video could be something that strikes other people to come forward and make their own videos. That's what I hope of this too, is that so many people collectively come together. They're not afraid. They're brave. They share their voice. So why does the Asher house no longer seem like a good place anymore?
Because he acts so crazy, and we know what he is, what he does, and the evil just kind of comes off of him now when you see him on there. There's so many stories going around about him, and they can't all be wrong. And I've had experience. I've heard things from many people. I've had my own experience with him, and he's just not a decent person. He doesn't take care of the animals, and it's just, don't ever take an animal there. That's all I can say. Don't ever take an animal there.
So, what does it mean to you to finally tell your story, Jan?
It's really hard for me to talk about it, but if it will stop people from giving him more money, more animals, and it's going to be a hard day, and I guess I'm just about done. I'm sorry.
So, as you can see, I had to cut the interview at that point. Honestly, it was so heartbreaking to do this. I have been promising Jan to connect with her and to get her story out, because she was literally bashed by the Asher house and Lee Asher, and her character was damaged. He came out with allegations of her neglecting her animals, of her beloved horses of 30 years. Imagine going through all that she did And when she was able to connect with me, and however we connected, maybe the universe, God, whatever it was that was in perfect alignment, the planets, I heard her story, and she cried to me and told me about the day that Lee called her saying that she could never visit them again. And I just didn't know how to help her. I promised her that I would do this one day, and I hope that she can get her horses back. And what she was promised, it was broken. And I think it's so crazy that somebody would do something like this and literally keep somebody from seeing their animals, let alone calling and berating somebody who's 83 years old. And I hope there's a day very soon that Jan can get her horses back. I really hope that this video inspires you to talk about why you follow Justice for Chevy, what accountability and transparency you want to see made in the rescue world, or specifically with Lee Asher and the Asher House. And if you've adopted an animal from there, if you've relinquished an animal from there, if you've had any experiences and you would like to send me your story, I'd love to get this going and start a movement, basically sharing everything. I'll be making one. I know some former employees might be making one. And there's so many followers out there. Obviously, he tries his best to shut down my voice, but together we can use all of our voices, and that's what Justice for Chevy is about. I cannot do this alone, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Jan. Thank you for the camera person behind the scenes who made this all happen. And yeah, just thank you, Jan. Thank you for being brave. You are literally my hero for doing all that you've done and for staying as strong as you have. I know it's affected your health, and I know how sad and heartbroken you are. But if there is any person at the Asher House that has a soul, they will know what to do and they will do the right thing. And just in case anybody's wondering what would she do with these animals with all the conditions, she would really love to send them to a family farm, which was her initial intention, where she can actually visit them. When they promise that she can visit them, she can go visit them. So yes, if you stand with Chevy, please create your video on why it matters to you and hashtag Justice for Chevy. Look forward to seeing them all. Thanks so much.
Folks keep saying, son, you gotta slow down. But I was born running, I ain't touching the ground. I ain't here to settle, I ain't built that way. And I don't care for the games they play. If you don't like what I say, then turn away. It ain't gonna change this man today. I ain't watching my words.
We got you some nuggies, buddy. And they're good for you to have. Let's get you some nuggies. Come on, let's show everybody that you're a good boy. There you go, buddy. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. Oh, here you go, buddy. There you go, buddy. Good boy, buddy. Show everybody that you're a good boy. Good boy. Look at you. Oh, are those nuggies good? Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good nuggies. See, now it's Alex. It's good. Not being aggressive. Not showing any teeth. Just being such a good boy. You're being such a good boy enjoying the nuggies. Oh, those little good nuggies. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. What a little good boy. Oh. What a good buddy. Here you go, baby. I think they lied about you, baby. I think they lied about you. I'm sorry they did that. But you know what? Mr. Lee Asher saw you himself, and he fell in love with you, and you're alive. And I think you're gonna be a really good boy. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll get it for you right now. Here you go. Oh, you got it? Good boy. Yay. All gone. Yummy, yummy for your tummy. Oh, you want another one? Another tiki nuggy? Another tiki nuggy? Yeah? Okay. There you go, buddy. Good boy. Alright. Alright. Nighttime is over. You're good. You're good. Hey, buddy, you're good. Alright, buddy, we're going to take you to your trainer now, okay? What are you